With Meereen conquered, Daenerys soon learned that the Council of Astapor fell to a butcher named Cleon, who declared himself king and enslaved the former aristocracy. In Yunkai, the wise masters had returned to their old ways and were gathering allies to fight against her forces. Fearing that Meereen would suffer the same fate as the other cities, she decided to hold off on traveling to Westeros, instead staying on as Queen of Meereen so she might learn to rule and protect the former slaves. Meanwhile, rumors about Daenerys Stormborn and her dragons spread across the known world. Maester Aemon of the Night's Watch even confided in his steward Sam Tarly, claiming that Daenerys was the prophesized hero that would come to save the realms of men. Unfortunately, he was too old to seek her out, and so the task fell to Archmaester Marwyn, who took up the mission after Aemon's death and traveled east to find Daenerys and offer his service and counsel. In Meereen, the Queen struggled to maintain order as a rebel insurgency known as the Sons of the Harpy attacked her followers in the streets, fighting a shadow war on behalf of the great masters who once ruled the city. To combat this aggression, Daenerys placed a blood tax on the Meereenese nobility in order to fund a city watch known as the Brazen Beasts. She also took 2 hostages from each of their families, threatening to harm them if the attacks continued. And while the attacks did continue, she ultimately chose not to harm the hostages. Yet not all were against the new ruler of the city, with the former slaves and lower classes rising to prominence under the new government. A movement formed of those who embraced the new queen and changes in society, shaving off their hair as a symbol of this new beginning. The Shave Pates, as they became known, were led by Skahaz Mo Kandak, an advisor to the queen. A number of companies also formed from the recently liberated slave population, like the Mother's Men, Free Brothers, and Stalwart Shields. As time went on, the 3 dragons who flew in the skies above the city grew, with the largest of them being Drogon, who regularly killed farm animals in the countryside, creating a system where the royal court would pay for any livestock destroyed. However, when a man arrived with the bones of his deceased daughter, Daenerys realized her dragons were becoming a threat to the people, and while Drogon was able to fly away and escape, Rhaegal and Viserion were locked away where they could do no harm. Late one evening, the queen was visited by the mysterious woman Quaithe, who was using magic to make contact in order to recite yet another prophecy. The glass candles are burning. Soon comes the Pale Mare, and after her the others, Kraken and Dark Flame, Lion and Griffin, the Sun's Son and the Mummer's Dragon. Trust none of them. Remember the Undying. Beware the Perfumed Seneschal. As the enemies of Meereen continued to gather all around them, Xaro Zoandaxis of Qarth arrived in the city, bringing 13 ships with him as a gift for the queen, on the condition that she gather her soldiers and leave Slaver's Bay. He stated that her presence and actions had disrupted the slave trade in southern Essos, affecting the economies of Volantis and Qarth. However, she refused his offer, causing him to leave her a bloody glove on a satin pillow, meant to convey that Qarth declared war on Meereen. With an alliance of powers, including New Gis, Tolos, Qarth, Volantis, and the wise masters of Yunkai, they were able to defeat King Cleon of Astapor, taking the city and then sending a naval fleet to blockade Meereen as they prepared to march north. Meanwhile, Daenerys began to make a number of concessions to the Meereenese nobility in an attempt to stabilize the city and prepare for its defense. In order to stop the rebel insurgency and make peace with the other powers of Slaver's Bay, she agreed to marry a Meereenese nobleman named Hizdar Zo Lorak on the condition that he use his connections to stop the attacks from the Sons of the Harpy for 90 days. His success, however, in stopping the violence led Skahaz Mo Kandak to suggest that he may be the Harpy, leader of the insurgents. As refugees from Astapor began trickling in from the south, they brought with them the Bloody Flux, also known as the Pale Mare, and so were not allowed to enter the city. The stress and severity of the situation led Daenerys to take Daario Naharis as a lover, and was then introduced to a man who revealed himself to be Quentyn Martell, son to the Prince of Dorne, who would come to offer a marriage alliance, which would see their houses join together to conquer Westeros. However, with her immediate concern being the security of Meereen, she rejected his offer, instead planning to go through with her marriage to Hizdar Zo Lorak. To celebrate the terms of peace, a great celebration was held in the fighting pits of Meereen, where Hizdar insisted that Daenerys try the honeyed locusts. However, she was so unhappy with the events unfolding, she had no appetite, leaving the man Strong Belwas to eat a great many of them. However, he soon fell ill, realizing that the locusts were poisoned. At the same time, Drogon returned, interrupting the festivities and landing in the arena. Daenerys, elated to see her dragon again, but also scared to see the fighters preparing to attack, ran to the creature, mounting it for the first time and flying away on its back, leaving the chaos of Meereen behind. Drogon took her deep into the Dothraki Sea, but refused to take her back, and so she began to walk through the grasslands. Unfortunately, she soon became grievously ill, hallucinating and losing consciousness. But she survived and once again mounted Drogon when he returned, then hunting down a horse, and together ate its charred remains. Daenerys Targaryen, Queen of Meereen, Mother of Dragons, was then found by the Dothraki Khalasar of Khal Jakko. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Knight of the X, Samey the Fair Butehaig, Honir the Dead Raven, and Septon Woodford of the Riverlands. If you would like to help Civilization X, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.